What's up, Yogi Show familia? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. My name is Pedro Luna, and I'm here with my co-host, Yogi Bryan. We are so excited to bring you this blissful episode, which features a live Yoga Nidra recorded on air with the one and only Julie Murphy, aka Yogaressa. Julie Murphy is a South Florida-based yoga and meditation instructor who facilitates incredible workshops, retreats, and Yoga Nidra experiences. She is highly recognized around the world for her amazing Yoga Nidra teachings and courses on the Insight Timer app, reaching tens of thousands of meditators. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of the episode as we close with a Yoga Nidra led by Julie that will leave you feeling blissed, calm, and ready for whatever is coming your way. Before we go off to the cosmos, we wanted to let you know this episode of the Yogi Show podcast is being brought to you by Bulldog Yoga. Bulldog Yoga is an awesome online yoga platform that has that high vibe, bumping music, funky flow kind of feel. They are offering access to their platform to our loyal fans for absolutely free for 30 days. It's a no-brainer. It's the holiday time. You need to get on the mat right at your house. It's easy to sign up, and all the classes are super fun. Visit theyogishow.com and click on the giant button that says 30 days of free yoga with Bulldog Online, or the link below on whichever platform you are streaming this on right now. All right, my friends, let's get to the show. Thank you so much for being here on this beautiful evening, Miss Julie Murphy. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Pedro. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for being here. Bryan, aka Yogi Space, he logged into our recording as Yogi Space tonight because we're talking about Nidra. Where are you, Bryan? You in the cosmos?
Yes, Julie, thank you for coming on. Pedro, how is it going? I logged in. Normally I log in as Yogi Bryan, but it's Yogi Space today because we have Nidra today. And every time I do Nidra, I go to outer space. It's beautiful.
Out into the land of the cosmos, into the land of the unknown.
Yes, it's amazing.
Wonderful.
Yes. So Julie is going to take us there on this episode at the end. So make sure you stay tuned till the end for a nice Yoga Nidra. Make sure that you're grounded and she'll guide you, and no driving. Maybe this is a no driving one,
Right. Yeah. No, don't drive in Nidra. Don't drive in Nidra, ladies and gentlemen.
Although sometimes I think that people around us are actually driving in Nidra.
Right?
The way we
they
live.
are. Yeah. I know, especially in South Florida. Like, I think everybody's on the Nidra when they're driving.
Right.
Everybody.
That's right.
So just a little context for the listeners. So I know Julie from a local South Florida yoga magazine that got started a couple years ago that we were a part of. And Julie is an amazing editor, by the way, and writer. Incredible. And I had the pleasure of working with her hand in hand, and it was a really wonderful experience. And she's an amazing being, and we're so grateful that she's on the show. This is how it kind of happened, though. I want to lay this out there for the listeners because it's an amazing synchronicity of the universe and just how the timing of everything is so perfect. Julie, I had wanted to have you on the show, and Bryan, I think I mentioned it to you. I wanted to have Yoga Nidra on the show, and Julie was the person for it. She is the Yoga Nidra. And I got an email from Insight Timer, and it said that you had a course. And I said, and I was thinking like I got targeted because I had listened to your downloads before or something like that. And so I told Bryan, I say, hey, Bryan, open up your email from Insight Timer because I know he gets them. Did you happen to get one that says Yogaressa Julie Murphy? And he's like, yeah, I have the same email. And so I was like, wow, like Julie is killing it. She has to come on the show. And then here you are. So
and here you are. And another crazy synchronicity is just before I got on this recording today, right now, I realized that I had been doing Julie's Yoga Nidra. Like when I first started Insight Timer back in February. Yeah. Back like that was my go-to. Like I had it hearted. I would go to it and now we're talking here. So that's a universe right here.
I love those sort of coincidences.
Amazing.
That's wonderful. I hope you gave me a 5-star rating, Bryan.
Absolutely. 5-star. I was trying to give 7 stars, but only do 5.
That's a wonderful coincidence.
Yeah, it's so amazing that we're connected, Julie. And before you got into Yoga Nidra, Can you give us a little bit of a backstory? Like, was your first practice asana, or was it Yoga Nidra from the beginning? Like, can you give us a little bit of your story? Because I'm sure it's inspiring as hell because you're amazing on how this all happened.
It's really probably quite similar to many people who started yoga or meditation or both to help them work through stress. And so long time ago, before I started teaching yoga, I used to work in the business world, and I had a very demanding job, and I used to use meditation in general for stress release. And then I actually, there's a book called Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much. And so,
really?
Oh, yeah. And that was like my Bible for a while. So I used to read that. And then I knew that it was kind of out of control when I found that I was reading the meditation at a red traffic light in between, driving to appointments. And I thought, okay, this is not only a bit ironic, but it's a bit sad that I'm clearly doing too much. I'm trying to read my meditations for women who do too much in between traffic lights, in between appointments. And so that's when I started to do more of the deeper meditations, started to try and find that life-work balance. Then I started teaching yoga, but it was the meditation part in terms of teaching meditation that came later. I remember in my first teacher training, I remember the first experience of Yoga Nidra around 2007. Not a lot of people were doing it. But I don't really remember it. You know, that weird thing of Yoga Nidra where you go in and especially the first few times, and then you come out and you think, what was that? I don't know what that was.
What just happened?
Yeah, what happened? And it was like a pajama party, because we were all lying down on the floor in our yoga teacher training group, and we had blankets underneath us and around us, and it was all mushy and lovely at the end of the training in the evening. And I just remember being transported somewhere, but I knew that I wasn't fast asleep. And so that's when I started to kind of fall in love with it. And when I went to India a few years ago to do more training there, that's when I really started studying it more and realizing that I really wanted to teach this because it had done so much for me. It had done so much to help me just put life back in perspective again, bring balance to life. Never permanently. It's always a moving target, I think, this thing called balance and ease and so on.
Absolutely.
But it was something I kept coming back to as this stuff works for me, and it's so incredible. I want to share it with other people. And so I started recording and doing my recordings, doing Insight Timer. I didn't really want to do the recordings, by the way, to begin with. People would say to me, and they would say, you should do this, you should record these sessions. And I felt too self-conscious, and I thought, oh no, I'm not going to do that because people might not like it, right? So it's that kind of fear behind something that I really love to do. What if I put it out there and my whole life is crushed because everyone hates it, and then I've killed Yoga Nidra,
No.
and then I'm responsible for nobody doing Yoga Nidra ever again.
Your fault.
Yes, exactly.
No way.
Never with your voice. Never with your voice. I'm just listening right now, and I would love you to just narrate my whole life, like for the rest of it. Please, like, get in my head and just like talk, like be my thoughts, and just narrate it. It's amazing. You do have a gift.
Thank you. And it's, when you say that, only when I stepped aside and thought, actually, this is a gift and it's not mine. And it's the ego getting in the way, deciding whether or not I should do this. When actually, if it's going to help people, then who am I to decide whether this is an amazing product or not? And maybe I should just do some recordings, put it out there. And, if people love it, isn't that fantastic? And if they don't like it, that's okay. I'll just go and do something else. And so it was that sense of non-attachment that then I think just let everything flow with a lot more ease. And now I'm so, crazy about it. I love the Yoga Nidra practice for myself and for others. And I love to teach it wherever I can. So really enjoy it.
just sharing your light. And we did a recording with a gentleman named Donnie Starkins back a couple weeks ago. We released her a couple months ago, whatever it was. And he said something about sharing, like you're talking about sharing and like having, like, not sure if you should share or like I want to, but like the ego thing in the middle. And he had a quote from Sean Korn, something about like, how dare I not? Like, how dare I not share my story and share my gift? Because it could touch somebody in a way that I'll never know and help them and tremendously in their life. And how dare I be, stand in my own way? Let me just get out of my own way, out of my own head, and just share your gift. And this is definitely your gift, one of your gifts. This is definitely one of your gifts. So thank you for sharing it.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. What do you I saw a quote on your website and it really touched me when I was looking at it. It said something about like, if it doesn't change your life, it's not yoga. Can you share what that means to listeners? Wow. Can you share what that means?
And it's not my quote, and I wish I knew whose it was, but I heard it years ago and I thought, that just summarized for me what yoga had done for me. And I didn't go to yoga looking to change my life. I really didn't look for any kind of big epiphany or, I just needed yoga to de-stress. And of course, the asanas were the first part of that. And then it kind of sneaks up on you, you know how it does. And all of a sudden you realize, gosh, there's so much more to this than the exercise part. And even meditation, there's so much more, so many layers. The more that we meditate, the more we spend time in contemplation and insight and just all the yummy things that yoga provides for us. And I realized that it hadn't changed me. I'm still me. I don't maybe read the book at the traffic light anymore, but I am still me. I feel like most people remain pretty much the same, but how it changed my life, how it made a difference in my life, is that it changed the way I was able to react to life and show up in life. And for me, that's yoga. So it changed my life in that way. And if it doesn't, then for me, it was just exercise. Then I was just going to the gym for, doing bendy things like a pretzel.
Right.
So I don't know if that makes sense. But when I read that quote, I thought, oh, yes, that's exactly it. If it doesn't change your life, for me, it's not yoga.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. Very powerful.
Can you throw in like in your Nidra, like pretzel? Like, you know how you do like random things,
random subconscious programming.
Like throwing random like golf ball or whatever, like throwing pretzel.
I'll do that. Around the same time that I ask for people's social security number and their bank account details.
Oh my! Holy cow! That is really funny. You guys, I have a Nidra story, and this just came to me in this moment, and I think it's relatable because people love stories. People love a good story. And Julie, I want to hear one of your, I know you definitely have good Nidra stories, but I have one that I really want to share in this moment because you said something about the pillow party, a teacher training, everyone's laying on the mats. And it just triggered this thought in me. I was doing a Vedic Thai training and we did a Yoga Nidra. It was day 1 of the 7-day course. And it's everyone's laying on giant like futon mattresses and I'm laying down and I drift off into Neverland. And I come to, and we say goodbye, and I'm in the cosmos still, but I get in my car, and I drive to the grocery store. So I arrive at the grocery store, and I'm halfway through my shopping, and a woman comes up to me, and she taps me on the shoulder, and she says, "You have my cart." And I said, "What do you mean?" So I look down and I realize I don't have my shopping cart, and I have a bunch of items in it that are mine and not mine. And I said, and I'm all the way back far. I mean, I'm far, guys. I'm far from where I'm supposed to. I said, well. And I said, okay, well, where's my cart? And she's like, it's over by like the produce. And it was on the opposite side of the Publix, the opposite side. I was like, I didn't know what to say. So I had to carry all of my items in my arms to my cart that was halfway across the store.
Did you even try and explain where you'd been?
No, there's no way to explain a pajama party at 5 p.m. on a bunch of futon mattresses in a yoga studio to a normal person. There's no way. So I had to just say like, I'm sorry, and just walk away. But you guys, that's a real story, and thank you for saying pillow pajama party, because it just like spiked that in me. And it was with a gentleman named Mukti, who's down here in South Florida. His training, it was his Vedic Thai training, and he did the guided meditation Nidra at the end, and that's what happened, and it was amazing. So, Julie, do you have any stories like that? I mean, maybe not as insane, but stuff like that students have shared, or a cool story like that.
Oh, I wish that I had something as insane as that. But what does happen at the end is this has happened often, where I'll say, all right, goodbye. And I will try and bring people back and say, do you know your name? Do you know where you live? This is before they leave the studio, and don't play any dreamy music, on the way home, play Pearl Jam or something like that. And so as I'm giving all this information, and they all drift out and go, thank you. And then almost every time someone will come back into the studio and go, I forgot my shoes. Yeah. They walked all the way to their car barefoot, or they don't have their keys, or and they're in another zone completely. And so it's and I don't want to frighten anyone that hasn't done Yoga Nidra, because it's not an out of control thing, but it's certainly a dreamy, drifty space. And you're not in that wide awake space, but you're not fast asleep either. And so all sorts of fun things can happen.
Yeah, super fun. Bryan, have you had any experiences when you've done Nidra? Have you had anything that's gone crazy?
Gosh, not any like these stories are hilarious, man. I'm crying laughing right now.
Yeah.
I've just been doing Nidra like through Inside Timer, like at home.
Okay.
So I feel like sometimes I'll fall asleep while I'm doing Nidra, and it's just like I'm home doing it. So nothing too crazy yet, but I have been like outer space though, like in the Nidra, where I'm just like, what is going on? Like you're kind of like in that dream world where you kind of know what's going on, and then you're like, okay, I'm thinking about a golf ball right now. Yeah. Why am I thinking about a golf ball? She said golf ball. And I'm on Pebble Beach, and this feels really good.
Pretzel.
And isn't it like, right? Pretzel. If you throw in pretzel, like I'm down the rabbit hole. You throw in pretzel, I'm thinking salted pretzel, and it's over. Maybe a little bit of cheese. But I've heard, Julie, answer this for me. I've heard that 30 minutes of Yoga Nidra is equivalent to 2 hours of restful sleep. Is that true?
I've heard similar statistics. So something like 1 hour is equal to 3 hours. And so to clarify that a little bit, and of course people have their own, this is my legal line that you can hear me starting to form. People will have their own experiences of it. But what I find is when you sleep, or when one sleeps, think about what's actually happening. A lot of the time we're grinding the jaw, grinding the teeth, clenching the jaw, holding the fists, the stomach is tight. And so even when we're asleep, and then we're furiously dreaming, and the mind is busy sorting things out, because that's what the mind does overnight. The subconscious is working and filtering information of the day. So actually, a lot of our regular sleep is quite busy, or quite tense. And in the Yoga Nidra state, or at least following the sequence of Yoga Nidra, because you're being led all the time to soften, to relax, to release, to let go, and because you're following this guided meditation, this dialogue, it's that one-pointed focus. It does drift, obviously, in and out, but you are focusing mostly on the experience, and that's where the type of sleep of the Yoga Nidra sleep is definitely more restorative than regular sleep. So yeah, I think it is, for me, it does feel like that. It feels like it's 1 hour equals to me about 2 to 3 times more than regular sleep.
Which I love. And I know everybody out there listening, do you hear that? You can do Yoga Nidra and it's going to get you rested. You're going to feel good. When I do it for 30 minutes, I feel like I took a solid 2-hour nap.
Fantastic.
And sometimes it's tough. If I do it before I go to sleep, I'm like wired. So
Yes.
I gotta like do it like in the morning
Yes.
or, before, so it doesn't throw off my sleep though.
Yeah. And people will get used to the sequence that works for them. And so, it can be seen as a form of guided meditation where you're preparing to go to sleep, or it can be seen as a lunchtime fix, in the middle of your day, like a power nap, a very powerful power nap. Or you can say to yourself, actually, I want to go to sleep during the Yoga Nidra. If you have problems sleeping, then you can train yourself in different ways to say, okay, I'm going to allow myself actually to fall asleep, and just separate that practice from the practice of doing it to stay in the Yoga Nidra zone. You decide that, right, I'm going to use this specifically to go to sleep, like a sleeping tablet. And so apparently all over the world, I'm putting people to sleep.
You're tranquilizing people.
Yes, I am. I've just become, a generic yogic sleeping tablet. I'm putting people asleep all over the world, even when they're not trying to fall asleep. And so, so it's just that balance. When do you want it to actually fall asleep because you can't fall asleep? Or when do you want it to move more into that yogic sleep where you're working with the affirmations and you're in that zone of not quite awake and not quite asleep? And you can choose which kind of practice you want to do.
Right. And amazing that you said that you're putting people to sleep all over the world or offering affirmations all over the world, because literally, I mean, you're global. Like, people know you all over, may not know you like I know you, but they know your voice for sure when that insight timer comes on. How did you get, I know a lot of, we have a lot of aspiring yoga teachers, meditation leaders that listen to this show. How did you get in touch with Insight Timer to kind of make that, how, was there an invitation or did you reach out to them? How did that go down?
Okay, are you ready for a woo-woo moment?
Oh yeah, give us the woo. Yeah, we love the stories. Give us the stories.
Love the woo-woo, love the stories.
I'm sorry, but it's true, and here's how it went. It's fascinating. And when this kind of thing happens, I used to say that's crazy, and now I don't say that anymore. I go, that's wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
I was chatting to my husband because I've been doing these meditation recordings, and they were on CDs, and they were everywhere, all over the internet, but I hadn't really decided what to do with, how do I actually scale this? How do I get this to more people, especially as, CDs, physical CDs have gone out the window. How did I get this to more people online? And I started to describe to him, I said, you know what I really need? Because people kept saying to me, you should do your own app. And I thought, yeah, but, then after you've done your own app, you're one app of a gazillion apps, you still have to somehow tell people you exist. And the time and creative effort that it takes to put an app together and so on. And so I said to my husband, well, you know what I really need? I need for someone who already has an app, who already has several thousand meditators, and who's just looking for new content and likes the stuff that I produce. And that's literally what I said. And we both nodded our heads and said, yes, that's so true, and went to sleep. So I woke up the next morning.
No way.
Yes, and I have the email still, and I opened my email, and there was an email from Insight Timer.
Amazing.
And I stared at the screen, completely shocked. Lots of, I actually burst into tears because I couldn't believe it. And there was this email saying that they had found my stuff on the internet, on the web, and would I be interested in sharing meditations with their community? And so is gobsmacked a word here? I don't know if that's a colonial word, gobsmacked, but I was gobsmacked.
It's a band, but I know what it means.
Yeah.
I was just floored. I thought, wow, okay. It was almost like I'd taken a megaphone to the universe and said, please, can I have this? And then that's when, again, I really knew I'm meant to do this for reasons that are bigger than myself. I'm definitely going to get out of my way and do this. And so I think I was just lucky. Right time, right place. Now Insight Timer has 10 million meditators. And this was a few years ago. And to see the numbers now that are, number of people that are now trying to form some sort of a regular meditation practice if it's new to them, or regular meditators on the app. It's just beautiful to see what they're doing, what kind of app they are providing, the meditation community. It's wonderful to be a part of it. I feel very, very happy and very lucky.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and just being, right time, right place, but it's also like putting in the work and putting out there like that this is what I want. Let me get out of my own way. Obviously, the universe delivered in like a 10-hour time frame for you, which is amazing. But I wish that would happen for like a lot of people, and me included. But I mean, literally, it's like you put in the work, you did the right thing, you showed up for the right reasons, you're doing it for the right reason, and that's why the universe responds. So for all the listeners out there that are trying to make a name, to leave an impact, put it out there, put in the work, just show up. Speak your truth, what you want, and it's coming. Be patient. Trust the process. It is coming. It is happening right now.
It is.
Now.
And be prepared for change along the way. So as you're putting the work in, months and years of work, and you have that goal in mind or that idea in mind or direction, and then a few curveballs are thrown our way, and we think, be prepared for things to unfold maybe differently to the way that you thought they were going to unfold.
Yep.
And be agile and move with it, and don't resist. Because, don't force anything and don't resist anything. It's kind of that beautiful flow space where it just works when it's meant to work. With with that non-attachment part of it, attached absolutely to making it happen, absolutely being disciplined, being focused, being dedicated, putting all the hours in to make it happen, but not being wrapped up in the what if it doesn't work and it's got to work and it has to work, not having that desperation attached to it. That's
Bryan
kind
talks
of what worked for me.
That's how Bryan and I talk about that with this show particularly, and the things that we're creating is like, let's continue to put it out there, put in the hard work, and not be in. Bryan told me, I said, we gotta make this podcast huge, all these things. And he says, well, don't be attached. The same thing you're saying right now. And this is just a reminder from the universe speaking through you, Julie, is like, don't be attached to the way that we're going to get there. Just know that we're going to put in the work to get there. And all the things along the way down the stream, the little rocks in the road, the logs that are crossing the stream, the dam that collapsed, like don't worry about that stuff. We'll get over the hurdles. Just keep going. What's up, friends and listeners? It's Pedro chiming in with your mid-episode trivia. Just wanted to remind you to stay tuned all the way through the end of this episode, as Julie will be leading us on an incredible Yoga Nidra experience live on the air. So don't go anywhere, and make sure you get grounded. You don't want to be driving and doing yogic driving. You want to be doing yogic sleep. See what I did there? All right, here we go. Mid-episode trivia on this week, on this episode, is who is the teacher that coined the word Yoga Nidra and brought it to the world? Who brought Yoga Nidra to the world? Make sure to stay tuned to the end of the episode for the answer and to experience the Yoga Nidra live with Julie. Now let's get back to the show.
Just keep going. Just keep going. Just show up. And Julie, like you were saying, and it's like getting out of our own way. It's like, it's not our ego. It's not what we want. It's like, what can the end user, what can the audience, what can the person doing the Nidra, what can the person taking the yoga class that I'm teaching, like, what do they need? Like, I'm just holding space here. We're just holding the space here for the show. You're just holding space there for the Yoga Nidra. It's like, what I want is not really important. It's what the end user wants is important.
Yep.
It's beautifully said.
How can we serve? How can we just serve more? That's it. And Julie, there's an amazing story, and I hope that you'll share it with us, because we love storytelling on this show. Because and your stories are great.
Your stories are awesome.
I saw to transition into your background, your training. I saw and read a little bit of a story about His Holiness on your website, and it moved me to my core so hard about being right place, right time. With the email that you just shared, that story about Insight Timer, can you share that story with the listeners? Because it's amazing.
Well, it was thank you for reading that. just brings such a big smile to my face. I will always tell that story as many times as anyone wants to hear it. For me, it was the ultimate in non-attachment, a lesson of non-attachment and surrender. I had gone to India a few years ago for my next round of teacher training, and I had chosen a place, or maybe it chose me. I had chosen a place in the Himalayas for various reasons. And it had everything that I needed and wanted in the training program. And it's the home place, it's the town that the Dalai Lama, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, lives in. And so I thought, this is going to be fantastic. I didn't get to see him in Boca, when he was here a few years ago. Right. So I thought, I'm sure I'm just going to, pop into him in the supermarket or something. I'm sure I'm going to see him because I'm going to be there for 2 months. And so almost those intensive, what yoga training is like when you're doing it in a big block like that, it's all hours, all days, hardly any time off. And there was never any free time to go anywhere. And I kept hearing, oh, you've just missed him. Oh, His Holiness was just, doing a procession down the street and you missed him. And, oh, no, he's just gone to Germany and he's always traveling somewhere. So it came to the end of 2 months and I'd finished that training and I was heading home. And I was so content. I was so happy and so peaceful and looking forward to getting home, and also so just happy about my entire teacher training experience. Really didn't want or need anything more. I thought this was just so perfect. I was sitting on the airplane, taking a small flight, like a sort of maybe like a JetBlue type aircraft, small aircraft, back to Delhi from the Himalayas. I was looking out the window and thinking, and it was so perfect that even though I didn't get to see His Holiness the Dalai Lama, it was still perfect. I'm okay with that. I'll get to see him at some audience somewhere, I know he'll come back to America. It hasn't changed. It hasn't put a smudge on my beautiful experience in India. And then I realized that there was a couple who was sitting behind me, an American couple sitting behind me, and they had got up and they'd walked to the front of the plane. I was in the third or the fourth row, and they'd walked to the front of the plane and they were talking to this monk in the front row and taking pictures with him. And I thought, oh, that's very sweet. They're obviously new to India and they don't know that there's lots of monks everywhere and they want to take pictures of somebody wearing these Tibetan monk robes. And so they came back and sat down behind me. And then I turned around to them, and I still don't know why you would ask this of somebody, but I turned around to them and I said to them, oh, I see you taking pictures of, of that monk up there in the front row. And they said yes. And I said, well, is there any reason why, what are you intrigued by? Why are you taking that picture? Which is a very odd question to ask. I don't know why I asked it.
But you asked it so nicely. I
mean, for sure it was kind and friendly.
That's the nicest way you could ask someone that. I was just thinking that right now. You gotta be like, hey, who's that monk over there?
I thought, why are they so, enthralled with this monk? And they looked at me and they said, that is His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. He was sitting 2 rows in front of me. And I hadn't noticed.
Wow.
I hadn't noticed he was sitting there. And I somehow levitated. I'm sitting next to this very sweet Tibetan businessman who was sitting next to me on the aisle. And I somehow, I don't know, I think I climbed over him. It was like time was just suspended. I had my tiny little iPad on me, my mini iPad, and because I was writing and typing up some notes and things. I threw my iPad at the American guy. I didn't even say to him, take a picture or anything like that. I just threw it to him. And then I found myself kneeling in front of His Holiness and waiting for him to notice me.
Hey, I'm here.
And then in the meantime, this lovely American man who had been taking pictures of the Dalai Lama, he was taking photographs, but it was a strange and beautiful experience because it wasn't like I was trying to sit on his lap so that I could have the selfie taken. And then there wasn't actually any cohesive thought. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was just suddenly in front of him and just staring at him with this big grin on my face and not thinking anything. There were no thoughts. And so he put his hands out and he put his hands out so that I would take his hands, and I was holding his hands. And in some of the photographs, my knuckles are white because I'm gripping his hands so strongly. And I'm just staring at him like a 5-year-old staring at Santa Claus, Father Christmas. And he looked at me, and people said to me, well, and what did he say? What did he say? And I said, he said nothing. And then they said, and what did you say? And what did you say? And I said nothing. Oh, and I just stared at him. Oh, I just stared at him, and with this big smile on my face, and he had this big smile on his face. And there were no thoughts, and it was just pure energy, just beautiful, peaceful, and kind of, he's a bit mischievous, and that comes through as well. Just this beautiful vortex of energy transfer. And then I just found myself going back to my seat and sitting there and not really knowing what had happened. So that was quite special. And I laughed because as soon as I had kind of done the real Buddhist philosophy of surrender, letting go, non-attachment, I didn't realize that I was doing that. And within seconds, suddenly there was the Dalai Lama sitting in front of me, and I had not even noticed he was there.
That's so powerful.
That's amazing. That's powerful. I'm looking at the picture right now. I have your website pulled up, and I'm looking at it now, and it's powerful. Everybody can go on the show notes and see.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes for sure.
This picture too. It is amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Great story. Wow.
You're such a good story, and such a powerful story about surrender and let go and simply allow the flow to happen. And then you're in the flow, and then that's when the universe serves it up. That's when it happens. So magical. Oh, I had chills. I had read most of the story, but I stopped so that I would get you to tell it so I could feel the rest. And I got to do that. So very cool. So thank you for sharing that story, and thank you for thank you for these constant reminder. This whole recording, this whole episode has just been a constant reminder to get out of your own way, speak your truth, shine your light, and simply allow for the universe to serve up exactly what you need at the right place and the right time.
It's a lovely word, allow.
Allow. That's surrender, go with the flow. That's the vibe I'm feeling from you, Julie.
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling from you that I'm just on a stream and I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Your voice and just how your vibe is and just your story. Yeah. It's like go with the flow. Everybody out there, like go with the flow. The universe is going to guide you. Like your subconscious mind's going to guide you. Like if you just get out of your own way, like you're going to be okay.
No doubt. No doubt. Julie, can you tell us a little bit about your Nidra course that you have on Insight Timer? And tell us about that.
I'd be delighted to. It's so Insight Timer has the free meditations, thousands and thousands of fantastic free meditations of all different types of guided and musical meditations. So I have quite a few free recordings under the meditations. And then 2 months ago, I launched a course. It's a 10-day course, 10 modules. They're maximum 20 minutes each. And it's an introduction to Yoga Nidra. And it's a good way for people who want to teach Yoga Nidra or are already teaching Yoga Nidra and just want a different perspective on it. It's a good way for people to just hear someone else's perspective on it. Good way for people who are already practicing Yoga Nidra and want to go a little bit deeper and understand more behind it, or people who've never done it before at all and just want to begin some form of a meditation practice. And so I take the traditional sequence because I've done training in the States and also in India on purpose, so that the traditional sequence from Satyananda, the elements of the traditional sequence are there. And then I've also tailor-made it for our Western world that I kind of blend the two.
Wow,
and in the end,
awesome.
in the end, people do what makes sense for them. So this is just, it's my offering for here's a whole different, not different, here's a whole suggested way to approach Yoga Nidra. Here's some information behind it of how it works and why it works. And by the way, they're all asleep within the first 30 seconds and nobody hears nobody hears the lesson anyway.
No,
so people standing up so that they can listen to the lesson part of it. But it is actually there for people as well who have trouble going to sleep. So I've made that particular course more dreamy and more sort of soothing to encourage people to actually go to sleep. We usually use the words, I am aware and awake, I am aware and awake, but you don't really want to do that to an insomniac because that's a bit cruel.
Sure. Yeah, no good.
So we're rather letting them just use it as a way to ease into sleep, either during the actual course or after the course. And it's doing so well. I'm so blown away, happy, excited, blessed, all the cliches. There are 7,111 people on the course, not that I'm counting or checking every day.
7,000 purchased the course?
7,000 people,
Wow.
are on the course. And so, and again,
how much is it?
So it's part of the subscription, which is what's so fantastic about this app. And so I think now actually they might be offering that you can buy the courses on their own. I think they're just starting to do that. But, for the $5 a month, and you look at all the other incredible content that's on there, I just think it's a fantastic app. And I'm using all sorts of different meditations for myself that I really enjoy. There's everything from Kundalini chanting to, Sharon Salzberg doing her very traditional Buddhist meditations. Everything's on there. So I think go for it, sign up and have access to everything. And then, yes, please come along and enjoy Yoga Nidra with me there.
Absolutely.
Yes, sign up. It's my favorite app. It's my favorite app, everybody. So
I know. Yogi Bryan was on that meditation challenge for a long time, man. How many days did you do consecutively, Bryan? Are you still on?
I did. No, I did. Yeah, I started February. Like I started Inside Timer in February. I think it was like February.
With Julie. And you didn't know that she was going to be on the show.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I had no clue. Like my goal in February was I just wanted to try meditation for 90 days with the gratitude list in the mornings because I heard having a good morning routine like really sets your day from all the things that I was watching and listening to like on YouTube and just like people that like take control of their day. So I'm like, I want to do 90 days meditation challenge. And I did a poll on my Instagram story to ask like, hey, do you use Headspace or Calm? And a lot of people message me saying, no, I use Inside Timer. I'm like, Inside Timer, what is this? I've never heard of it before. Like, what the heck? So I actually used Inside Timer, downloaded it, and then I started my meditation challenge, and I loved it. Like, I love the timer. I think I got it to like 200 days, and then it was getting like competitive for me. Like, I was getting competitive. I'm like, I have to do like a minute of meditation, like no matter what, before I go to sleep. Like, I have to just get it done. And I broke my streak just to break my ego. It was one of those things like, I'm going to break my streak to break my ego because I know this is like such a big thing for me, the streak, but I still make sure I do 20 minutes a day or do Nidra, during my breaks or before I go to sleep. So it's a great app, everybody. If you want to start a meditation practice, start small, but I would say give it at least 21 to, it took me like 77 days to really like start being like, oh, meditation's working for me.
That's incredible.
So it takes time.
Good for you.
But Nidra, I was like, I love Nidra like from day one. I was like, I love this. I can do it on my back and I don't have to sit up and I'm going to outer space. I love it.
Yogi
so
space.
Nidra had me. Nidra had me at Nidra.
All right, Julie, I think this is the perfect time for the listeners to get a taste of, or to experience a Nidra from you. So if you could please work your magic and however you work it, and
Okay.
lead us into and set it up however you do it, and the floor is yours. And then when you guide us out, Bryan and I will come back to, hopefully back from the cosmos, and then we can sign off from there. But we're definitely looking forward to you holding the space for Nidra on this show. It's been a pleasure connecting with you, and it would only be fitting that we do that for the show.
Well, thank you.
Exactly. And if we don't chime back in to close out the show and Julie closes out the Yogi Show,
it's all good.
She's our new host.
She's the new host.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, and I'm very happy to be here and to be sharing some Yoga Nidra with the Yogi Show people. That's fantastic. Thank you. We will do a short Yoga Nidra. So this will just give you a taste of a Yoga Nidra sequence. And one of the most important things to remember is there's no way to do this wrong. And so if this is the first time you're doing Yoga Nidra, or you're not sure if you're doing it correctly, you can relax, let go of expectations, and just let the experience unfold and enjoy the experience, and simply follow the guided meditation, almost as if you're listening to a night-night story. So make yourself comfortable now, and you can lie down if you like, or you're seated. Of course, you're not driving. You're doing this somewhere where you are safe, and you'll be able to wake up on your own if you do drift off to sleep. Close your eyes if that makes you feel comfortable. And just notice how you feel in this moment. And take a slow and easy breath in through the nose. Take your time to breathe in. And hold the breath just for a second or two. And then open the mouth and let the exhale be a whisper sigh all the way out as you begin to relax. And take another breath or two like that in your own time. Slowly easing the breath in and out of the body, taking your time, sending a message to the body to begin to soften and relax. And sense your body, your current state of being, noticing how you feel. And make a commitment to be still if you can. If you're not comfortable at the moment, make a last few adjustments here and there to be perfectly comfortable so that you can be still. And sense your body breathing on its own, no effort, body relaxed and breathing. Become aware of the environment you're in, just knowing where you are and getting a sense of almost seeing yourself either sitting or lying down in that environment, almost observing yourself as you begin this Yoga Nidra. You may use an intention statement to promote calm and relaxation. The intention statement is, I am calm and content. I am calm and content. And even if this is not your current state of being, that's okay. Your subconscious mind will receive the information as if it is true. And so silently, mindfully repeat that intention statement several times, slowly. I am calm and content. I am calm and content. Releasing the intention statement. We take a journey of awareness now through the physical body. It's like a mental body scan. As your awareness rests on each part of the body, when you hear it mentioned, there's nothing to do, nothing to even have to try and relax, nothing to move. You're simply shining the soft light of awareness on each part of the body as you hear it mentioned. And it's okay if your awareness drifts away from where we are. Just notice when you've drifted away and come back to following the body scan. As you sense your right hand, just sensing the right hand and where your right hand is and how it feels. Right wrist, moving up the arm to the right elbow, right shoulder, and slowly taking a trace of awareness all the way down to the right hip, right thigh, right knee and ankle, and the right foot. And feel the whole of the right side of the body, the whole of the right side of the body. Feeling from the inside, sweeping your awareness slowly up and down the whole of the right side of the body. Letting go of that awareness and bringing the awareness over now to the left hand, left wrist, awareness of the left elbow, left shoulder, and slowly down to the left hip and thigh, left knee, ankle, and foot. And then the whole of the left side of the body, whole of the left side. Take your time. Awareness traveling slowly up and down the left side of the body. And sense your whole body now, whole body resting, mind gently aware and awake. Whole body resting, breathing with ease, without effort. And feel the gentle rise and fall of the breath in the body. Without changing anything in the breathing, just noticing your body resting and breathing. And taking your awareness to the center of the chest, where you may feel the slight rise and fall of the breath. And also perhaps an awareness of well-being here at the center of the chest, the heart space. Place of deep contentment and ease and well-being. And sensing your body in this space, however it appears, however you feel your body experiencing the Yoga Nidra, along with any thoughts or images, sensations, as you explore this space of well-being. And from deep within that place of inner quiet, bringing forward the intention statement again. I am calm and content. Silently repeating that several times. Taking your time. I am calm and content. And then letting go of your intention statement. And feeling the effects of your Yoga Nidra. As you feel the awareness of being in the room that you're in, how your body is placed, your surroundings, any sounds, noises outside or close by, just gently bringing your awareness back into the present moment, back into the present world. And in your own time, begin to breathe more deeply and feel how the deeper breath wakens up the body, so that you take your time to gently stretch whenever you're ready. It may not be now, might be later. You may want to just rest. Whenever you're ready, you'll come out of your Yoga Nidra and reflect on the experience and what it felt like for you. And know that at a subconscious level, the work of the Yoga Nidra will follow you long after the practice is over, taking with you the seeds of intention, planting them into the subconscious mind so that they become more and more part of your conscious living. Thank you for letting me guide you tonight in Yoga Nidra.
Beautiful, Julie. Beautiful.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Are you aware and awake and able to drive home?
That was really wonderful.
I don't know where my home is at.
I don't either. That was really good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Thank you for holding this space. I am calm and content. This episode was one of the best. I truly am grateful that we are able to hold space for people to experience this. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Julie.
Pedro and Bryan, thank you, both of you. You're doing such a beautiful job with the Yogi Show, and you're providing just the most wonderful platform for people to explore everything that is yoga and meditation, and to talk about it and find their own experiences on that. So I am very grateful for being a part of that, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for including me in your show.
They're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Very welcome. Thank you so much. Appreciate this so much.
With that, my friends, we are going to go back to sleep. I'm calm and content. All right, my friends. Until next time, namaste.
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 Is anybody out there? Are you still with me? Or are you lying in yogic sleep? No, this is not a dream. This is real life. And unfortunately, this episode of the Yogi Show podcast has come to an end, my friends. Big thanks to Julie for sharing her insight, wisdom, and teaching of Yoga Nidra with us. The Dalai Lama story is one of my favorites ever on the show, and the story about me with the shopping cart in the Publix still makes me laugh every time. It was so real. I don't even know what was happening, fam, but it was amazing. Now for the answer to today's mid-episode trivia question, which was who coined the term Yoga Nidra and brought it to the masses? And the answer is Satyananda Saraswati. If you had Satyananda Saraswati as your answer, ding, 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 you are the winner. And what do you win, you ask? 30 days of free yoga from our sponsor, Bulldog Yoga. Actually, everybody wins 30 days of free yoga from Bulldog. All you have to do is go back to our website, theyogishow.com, link below, or type it in your browser, theyogishow.com, and click on the giant button at the top. Claim your 30 days of free yoga. It's amazing, fun, high vibe kind of feel. I've used it on and off for about 2 years now personally, and I really enjoy the classes. So check it out, and also check out all the links to find Julie on theyogishow.com in the show notes where everything lives. If you want to check out Julie on Insight Timer, highly recommend. Highly recommend. Thank you for being here, tuning in each and every week. We appreciate you. Hope you're having an amazing holiday season. and we'll see you soon, my friends. Namaste.